Welcome, everyone, to episode 12 of Around the Book, where this week we'll be discussing week 11 of NFL football and then week 12 of college football. I find myself getting more and more sad, because we're double digit weeks for both leagues. Like, football it seems like it's just going to be winding down. It's going to be over before we know it. Still a lot left, though, so shouldn't be getting too sad. I think we had decent weeks last week. It wasn't our worst week. The best news that came out of last week, though, touchdown parlay hit plus 1,800. So I mean, that was just a huge. Even if you put $5 or $10 on that, that was a huge hit. So we're excited for that. We're going to try to build off that momentum, see if we can get 2 weeks in a row for our touchdown parlay. With a few of the names we have so far, I think we have a good chance. But we'll get into that towards the end of the show. We'll open up the floor to talk about last week, see if anyone has anything they want to get off their chest, anything they liked from last week. I know personally my losses were both my underdogs, so my locks won for a change. That's new for me, so I was excited for that. And then my underdogs were both right there. I mean, USC lost by like 9 points, I think. And the Commanders lost at the last second field goal. So it would have sucked. It would have been nice to hit those, but I'm not too upset. I went 500 for the weekend. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you have anything you want to bring up from last week.
You can go, Jake.
We're both ready.
You got it, Jake.
I'm ready for college football to be done, just so I don't have to gamble on it anymore.
That makes sense.
It's been a rough year, so that was about it. NFL is looking good, but college, I don't know what's so different between the two, but I just can't.
So I, for one, am not ready for college football to end. I had my first down week in a little bit in college, went 1-1 in college, dropped 0.08 units. I'm back down to only being up 4 units, but still holding on at 500. And then NFL actually went 2-0 for once this week. I think this might be my first weekend going 2-0 in NFL all year. And now we're in the black in NFL at plus 0.78 and 500 for NFL on the year as well. So breaking even on my record, but in the money as far as units go in both college and NFL. So I'll take it. Builds me a nice cushion for me to blow it on basketball, hockey, NASCAR, and golf and lacrosse over the next few months after the season and after football ends.
Yeah, we're going to have to experiment with our lacrosse betting, and so you're just going to need all the extra you can have.
PLL has local teams now. Like they finally
I saw that.
In cities.
Are you close to any of them?
So the thing is, like when the league first started, I was a Whipsnakes fan because I was a big Maryland fan as far as the college team goes. But I'm from PA, and the Water Dogs are in Philly now. So my allegiances are split between the Maryland Whipsnakes and the Philadelphia Water Dogs. I don't know.
Nice.
But the logos are all awesome.
Yeah, I like the logos. I saw a video about maybe about a month ago from the guys who created the PLL, and they were offered $15 million or something like that for the league, and they're like, no, we can't do it. Then it was 5 years later or whatever, now it's only worth $2 million, which just sucks, but it was crazy that they
still did enough to buy their rival league.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened. Originally there was what's called the Major League of Lacrosse, the MLL, and Paul Rabel decided to start his own league, and within 3 years they swallowed up the MLL. It'd basically be like if LeBron decided to go start his own basketball league, and within 5 years they bought the NBA. That's basically what happened.
Will the Live Golf Tour buy the PGA?
Yeah, or if the Live still bought the PGA. Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Honestly, that wouldn't be surprising considering they were backed by Saudi Arabia, but let's not
Free to do whatever they want.
Yeah. All that Saudi money.
Yeah. All right. So talked about last week a little bit. Let's move on to a new week. Hopefully JT will be joining us here in a minute. He says he'll be running a little late, so if he jumps in, I think he put his picks in the chat, so we can at least go over them if he's not able to. But we'll start off in college football. I'll start us off, and I'm going to go with my lock of the week. I'm going to do Louisville versus Miami, Florida, over 46.5 points. I got that at minus 105. I think 46.5 is kind of a low line for this game. I was expecting it to be closer to like 48.5, 49.5, something like that. Because Louisville was able to consistently score 30-plus points. I think out of 5 of their last games, they've scored 33-plus points a game. So, I mean, they're going to get a good chunk of this one, I think. Miami's coming off a close loss to Florida State. So, obviously, they can score as well. Hopefully, they're feeling like they need to bounce back and they have something to prove, so they'll just start scoring more points. And I think this will hit pretty easily. So, that's what I'm going to go with for my lock. And then my underdog is going to be Kansas money line against Kansas State, the Sunflower Showdown, where they fight for the Governor's Cup in Kansas. Usually, like, if you were to tell me that this game was going on 10, 15 years ago, I would have never wanted to watch it. Like, you couldn't pay me enough. But this year, it's actually going to be pretty good. I know Kansas State stepped up their football program. So, I mean, they've had great teams over the past few years. Kansas is just finally getting into their own and finally having a good team to go up against in this rivalry, which has been pretty one-sided by Kansas State. But I think Kansas is going to take it out this year. They have an opportunity to get 9 wins for the season if they can win this week and then next week against UC. So that'll just put them in better bowl position. Get them in a better bowl. So I think they're going to fight for it, and I think Kansas is going to take this. Like I said, I got it at plus 260 right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see that line move down a little bit, but definitely some great value there.
Some good odds.
Yeah, and welcome, JT, just in time to go over some college picks, or if you have anything from last week you want to get off your chest or anything you're excited about from last week.
Man, what even happened last week? It feels like it was so long ago. It's been so crazy around here. No, I think most of my bets were good. I was 2-1-1 last week, so over 500. I'll take it. Not bad.
Yeah.
Now I'm slowly clawing my way back up to respectable.
Yeah. Great. I mean, are you the only one that's pushed on here so far? Yeah, you've done it twice. In the
last
NFL.
2 weeks in a row. Yeah. Lions let me down last week.
What'd you have on that one?
Lions -3, and they won by 3. So
gotcha. Yeah.
that was my lock, and they didn't lock for me. So thanks for nothing, Detroit.
Yeah. Well, at least you got your money back, I guess.
That's true. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Just, I like that tally in the win column. It makes it look a little bit better.
For sure. But yeah, if you want to get started on your college picks for this week.
Yeah, so college picks. I'll just jump right into it. Come in late, start talking.
Yeah. Are you? Well, sorry. Are you ready? Are you?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Let's see. My lock for the week. I've got Georgia -10.5 over Tennessee. I just think Georgia's a much better team. They're on their way to the SEC championship game, and I think Tennessee's a little bit of a fraud. So I think Georgia's going to throw it all over them. I think they'll probably really do whatever they want. I'm expecting a pretty comfortable victory. And then my underdog See, this is where no prep time comes back to bite me. I have University of South Florida playing someone tomorrow. UTSA.
Gotcha.
So I've got South Florida plus 16.5 versus UTSA. South Florida, they can throw the ball really well. They move the ball. Honestly, I think they're one of the better G5 teams that are out there. Their record isn't great, but neither is UTSA. So I think this can be within 17 points. I feel comfortable with that. It's going to be getting that Thursday night kind of prime time spotlight. I think they're going to show up. They're going to show out. I feel good about it.
Yeah. I like that Georgia pick. I don't know what happened these past couple of weeks, but it's like they lost Bowers and somehow got twice as good as they were the past few weeks. So it made no sense. They somehow got better by subtracting.
Yeah, that should make all of college football feel really good. They lose the best player in America and get better.
Yeah.
They're like Alabama at this point. It's just next man up, and they're just so loaded.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun clash in a couple of weeks. Alabama versus Georgia. I'm looking forward to that. It's coming.
I don't know if Alabama's I feel like Georgia's head and shoulders above Alabama right now.
I agree, but it's Nick Saban. I feel like I don't know. I think he'll at least make it interesting.
And it feels like Alabama's been getting better every week. Like they started out so slow, and now they're just typical Nick Saban.
If they can roll into that game with some momentum, that could be a huge factor.
I don't think they've ever had to play where they've needed their quarterback to develop a little bit. Like the past 5 or so years, they've just had a guy that could be like, "Hey, you're playing this week. Okay, here's 350 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns for you."
That's what it is. They're just still getting used to having to actually develop a quarterback.
Yeah. Which is scary for next year.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I'm up for my college picks. So for my lock this week, I'm taking Utah and Arizona under 45.5 at minus 112. We all know Utah's defense is very stout. Their offense is not great. And they've been playing low-scoring games all year. Arizona, while they don't have quite as stout of a defense as Utah, they've been playing pretty well on both sides of the ball. This should be a tight defensive struggle. Their offense can't really take the top off of teams. It's not very explosive. They've been grinding out wins, and their defense has done a great job this year of kind of sitting in that shell. They play a very conservative defense. It's kind of helped to limit a lot of the great quarterbacks in the Pac-12 this year. And I think for that reason, you're going to see just a very conservative, defensive-minded, low-scoring game. Possession's going to be key. And I think first team to 23 wins this. So the under should hit pretty comfortably. And then for my underdog pick this week, I'm taking UCLA money line at USC at plus 235. This is one of those games that, while USC I think has bounced back in the last couple weeks playing Washington and Oregon close, this is the worst possible matchup for them. So they're playing a very good defensive team in UCLA. And also they're playing now, while UCLA's offense hasn't been, a typical Chip Kelly offense, I do think Chip Kelly is going to look at this USC defense on film and just salivate because he is still a very good offensive coach, and USC's defense is just so terrible. I mean, it's comically bad. And I think for that reason, UCLA has a good shot at pulling out the win. Also, like USC is at this point, they have nothing to play for. Caleb Williams in particular has very little to play for because, I mean, he's already done more than enough to establish himself as the number 1 overall pick in the draft, or at least the first quarterback off the board. And with how many games USC has lost at this point, he's probably out of the Heisman running. Regardless of how well he's been playing, it's just hard to win the Heisman when your team loses that much. So if Caleb Williams starts to pack it in, I mean, he's literally carrying USC at this point. It could go downhill quickly for them. At a plus 235 in a rivalry game, you got to take UCLA here.
Yeah, I like that. I do want to say something. Remember our first episode when we did the futures? I hope Caleb Williams just sits out because I followed you on that Marvin Harrison Jr. hype train. It was not looking good at the beginning of the season.
No.
Now, dude, all right, this could really happen, especially if Caleb Williams, he's like, hey, I'm going to just get ready for the draft. If they lose again.
What are the Heisman odds right now?
I couldn't find them on DraftKings. I didn't look on FanDuel. But
I'm just Googling current Heisman odds. Apparently, Bo Nix is the betting favorite at 5-1.
All right, hear me out. Marvin Harrison Jr., 100-plus yards and a touchdown this week against Minnesota. Beat Michigan. Have at least 100-plus yards. That's a lock for the Heisman in my
So
in
Marvin
my
Harrison Jr. right now is 4th in the odds at plus 600.
We got him at plus 2,000. Well, you got him
right?
plus 2,000.
I know. Right now, it's Bo Nix at minus 110. Michael Penix Jr. at plus 370. Jaden Daniels from LSU at plus 370, and then Marvin Harrison at plus 600. And then it drops off like a cliff.
Yeah.
To 5th in the odds is Carson Beck at plus 3,500.
So we had 2 of those between us at the beginning of the year then, right?
Right.
Harrison and Penix.
Yeah. We got
you had JT, you had Penix, right?
Yeah, he was my pick.
Penix should be first, in my opinion.
That's what I was thinking.
He beat
I
Bo
actually
Nix.
just watched a lot of Nix and Penix tape the last couple of weeks because we have for those of you that read the Raider Ramble, we got a quarterback's consensus rankings coming out soon. Since the Raiders are probably going to be drafting a quarterback, I was watching a lot of Nix and Penix tape last couple of days.
I feel like who you like there
Bo
depends
Nix.
on the offense.
Love Bo Nix. Michael Penix is the most confusing quarterback prospect in this draft.
Michael Penix
he's
would be
raw.
a Bruce Arians guy. Just
He's-
throw it downfield.
His mechanics are atrocious, but it works. I don't know
That's what I'm
why,
saying, dude.
but it
He's
works.
raw.
They're horrible.
Like he doesn't use his lower body at
Yeah.
all.
Here's the one thing I hate about both of those guys, because I'm already starting to do a little bit of draft research. Both guys are going to be 24 years old as a rookie. Like neither can afford to be raw because they're already like senior citizens in terms of college
See,
football.
I think Nick's his football. I think he might have of this quarterback class. He might have the highest football IQ.
Well, he's been in college for like
processes
30 years.
really well. He is not the same guy he was a couple years ago.
Like, yeah. He's old as hell for college.
He's older than half the offensive coordinators in the league.
He's had like separate careers at every university he's been to. It feels like it's not like it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't pay that much
Right?
attention.
He was just at Auburn and Oregon, right?
Yeah, but I swear he was at Auburn so long ago, and then I
I
saw
feel
him play
like-
for Oregon this year, and I was like, how is he still?
I think that was because of COVID. I think COVID
Yeah,
made
COVID
me
gave everyone
feel
a-
like that was so long ago.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
All right. Let's get back on track here.
All right, Jake.
All right. So for my college picks, maybe as a viewer, you should listen to one of the other three on this panel, given my record at the moment. But
Nah, you got
This
this,
is your
Jake.
week.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
give
this
my
is your
best
week.
to, and maybe we'll get a 2-0. We're going with my lock. We got West Virginia at -6.5 against Cincinnati. Since Cincinnati joined the Big 12, they've been a little shaky, especially against teams that have been in the Big 12 for a while. I think this is going to be a pretty close game. I think both of these offenses are going to run the ball well. I think West Virginia has the advantage through the air. And the 6.5 number here is the main reason I took this. I think they can definitely win this by a touchdown. But yeah, the line being 6.5 allows them to win by a touchdown, an extra point, and for it to still cover. So hopefully that hits. And then my underdog, I'm going with a Washington money line at +114. And I'm only taking this because this probably will be, unless they make the playoffs, this will be the only time that they are not favored that I've seen in a game this year. This game's also going to be really fun to watch. They're playing Oregon State. It's going to be a top 10 matchup in the Pac-12. Going to be a pretty good one. And yeah, I really like the idea as a gambler of Washington having the money line in their favor here. So
Yeah. I'm probably going to trail that pick.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah, I don't think I
think
even
they're on the
realized they were
road.
underdogs.
I think it's at Oregon State, which is that's the only thing I could think of because they're 5 and Oregon State is 10. I believe.
Yeah.
But like,
well, this is nice. Have you guys done no free ads, but ESPN Bet?
I got an email about it.
Now, when you go on ESPN now, they give instead of like a crappy version of the odds, they give you like the odds and everything, like up in the top left corner.
Yeah, I don't get the Oregon State being favored. I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
Oregon State's best win is Utah. I mean, that's it. They've beaten Utah and UCLA, but like they lost to Washington State, they lost to Arizona.
Yeah. It's +115 now.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah,
I mean, other than I feel like that's just if you really believe that Washington is not capable of running the table.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. You're just betting on Washington to screw up. Which if they don't do it this week, they're probably going 12-0.
Yeah.
This feels like that Vegas trap game, though. Like, I felt the same way picking Kansas last week against, what was it, Iowa State or whoever. It felt like a lock that Kansas was. No, it's Texas Tech. The fourth-string quarterback, and Kansas is, only -3. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is free money. They're going to blow Texas Tech out. Texas Tech upset.
Yeah.
Vegas knows, and it doesn't make any sense. And if a line looks stupid wrong, then it almost always comes close.
Yeah.
It's in the script.
It is. That's exactly what it is. Vegas has
But Vegas has been like dead wrong on some stuff this year. They have really like a few of those that like looked wrong turned out to be like way wrong. Like that Colorado Nebraska game earlier this year.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like -3.
But the beginning of the year is always weird because we're still trying to figure out who the teams are. Now Vegas knows, and they said, "Go ahead, bet this. I dare you." And we said, "Fine, we'll do it, and we'll make money." And they say, "You're an idiot."
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. If Washington is gonna lose this year, if Washington is gonna lose in the regular season, it's gonna be this game. But
I don't think any of us think they are.
I don't think Oregon State should even be ranked as high as they are.
To be honest,
personally,
I think the Pac-12's been overrated all year.
They're getting the SEC treatment this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because I think the AP is butthurt about the Pac-12 getting rated.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it is. I think writers are butthurt about college football getting kind of ruined by corporate greed. And they're the Pac-12 was actually really good, and you ruined it, college football.
Yeah, the 1 year it's been good.
It would be so classic Pac-12 for Oregon State to win this game, though. And
Yeah.
then just nobody from the conference goes.
This is honestly, this is their only chance
Yeah,
almost.
this Oregon State winning would be the most perfect ending to Pac-12
Yeah.
football.
The best conference to not get a team in. All right. Well, before we start talking about like tournament predictions and stuff, let's just move into the NFL because we'll be here for another hour trying to go through that. All right. So starting with the NFL here, my lock is like I still couldn't believe this is out here, but I have the Eagles and Chiefs over 46.5 at -105. I don't know if you guys watched the last time these two teams played. It was in a small game called the Super Bowl. They combined for 73 points. Now, I get these teams are in the Super Bowl. Guys are probably jacked, ready to go on 10, just like ready for anything. So even if you subtract 20 points for them being in the Super Bowl being hype, I'll give them 21 points. That's 52 points combined. I know that's weird math, but I'm just going to give it the Super Bowl bump of 21 points. 46.5, these teams are going to cruise past this. I wouldn't be surprised to see this close to finish by halftime. These teams are just going to go crazy on offense. The Chiefs are the Chiefs now. They did their little midseason where everyone started to doubt them, and then they just put it together and we're like, all right, the Chiefs are probably going to go to the Super Bowl again this year. The Eagles have something to prove this year, especially against the Chiefs. So I just think that this over 46.5 at -105 is a lock. And then my next game actually benefited me. It sucks because it deals with the player's injury, even though a lot of people don't really like this player for his moral compass. But I have the Steelers money line and I got it at +164 as my underdog. Now, this was the night before the Deshaun Watson news broke. So after the Deshaun Watson news saying that he won't be playing, they're going to have DTR in, Dorian Thompson-Robinson playing quarterback for them. The Steelers are still underdogs in this, but the line is at the money line odds are +100 for them to win. So I have great value at +164. I would still jump on this at +100 and double your money. I think they're going to take it to the Browns. This conference just is beating the shit out of each other, and the Browns came back against the Ravens. I think this is just going to be a nasty AFC North battle. Steelers come out on top. Yeah, those are my picks for this week.
Just want to say Dorian Thompson-Robinson is only a little more qualified to play quarterback than a masseuse is qualified that you find in it.
So that's what I'm saying. Take even the +100 is crazy. It's crazy. I know JT always says Vegas knows something, but this is just
The line for the game is like, I think Browns -1 too.
yeah, it's
Like just
yeah. Like I'm not going to touch the spread on it, but
yeah.
money line.
You know what I really like
Steelers.
about that over for the Eagles-Chiefs game?
It's going to hit.
Chiefs coming off a bye.
Yeah.
I heard earlier
Yeah.
that I think it was Andy Reid is 16-4 in his career coming off of the bye.
It's something stupid like that.
You give an offensive genius like that an extra week to prepare against an opponent like this, where you know everyone's going to be dialed in.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. Points.
Taylor
should be flying.
Swift's parents are meeting the Kelsey parents. Like, dude, everyone's going to be in town for this game. Nick Sirianni's going to be crying again on the sideline for the national anthem. It's just going to be a wild one.
Sibling rivalry,
Sibling
Kelsey's gonna be
rivalry.
blocking
it's gonna
for
be-
touchdowns all the way.
The
I am
NFL is
so
just
sick of.
yeah.
I mean, I enjoy like when I come across like clips from their podcast, but I am so sick of like all the Kelsey brothers
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I like them, but dude, it's annoying. I get it. The
Like,
NFL
talk
is
about
just
literally-
rolling.
What's the over under on? Is that the Sunday night game?
I think it's Monday.
Monday night, I think.
So that's Buck and Aikman.
Yep.
Yep.
What's the over under on how many times the Joe Buck says Mama Kelsey?
6.5.
In the first 10 minutes, yeah, 6.5.
Who gets more coverage, her or Taylor Swift?
Ooh, good question. I don't know.
Taylor.
Who gets more airtime?
I'm curious to see if DraftKings starts to put out Taylor Swift themed bets again.
How many Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes jumping, screaming hugs? Over under 2.5.
Over in the first quarter.
Over in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. I hate that they're friends. All right. I'm just not going to talk about it. The over is going to hit. Don't forget that.
Yes, the point of the podcast.
The point of this, over 46.5.
And Taylor Swift is pretty.
Yes. Anyways, minus 105. Double your money. Double your money on the Steelers. Do it all. I'm going 4-0 this week.
All right. So I will start with my underdog. I'm going Jets +7 versus the Bills. Let's not forget the Jets won this game the first time around. This defense is as good as any defense in the NFL. And the Bills are not playing great ball. They just fired their offensive coordinator. Their defense is highly questionable. This is a big gap for a Jets team that I don't expect to get blown out. With that defense, I don't know if they'll win because of their quarterback situation, but I don't see them getting blown out because of how good that defense is and how well coached they are. I really like what Robert Saleh does for this team. So I do expect that game to be competitive. Josh Allen has a couple of turnovers. Could be tight down the stretch. So I think that's one I really like, Jets +7. And then I'm changing it up. I put one in the chat that I was going to do for my lock. But then I got news Justin Fields is expected to play this week, and the Lions already burned me last week, so I'm done with them. Flush them down the toilet.
Are they banned?
Not yet, but I'm angry with them.
They're on probation.
Strike one.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
don't think we can ban the Lions just yet.
Not yet.
I was going to say, I'm definitely going to bet on them at least one more time.
Yeah, I was going to say, they were good to me last week.
But
sorry, JT.
No. We're all in agreement. Lions, we're watching you.
Yeah, strike one.
I'm actually going to go to Thursday Night Football this week because the Thursday night game is really good. I am going with Baltimore -3.5 over the Bengals. Right now, Bengals are banged up at wide receiver. We don't know if Chase is going to be a full go. We don't know if T. Higgins is going to play.
I think they already ruled him out.
Yeah.
I think they already got him, man.
And Baltimore is coming into this game angry because they lost to this Browns team last week. Tough divisional game. They got another tough divisional game, but the Ravens are the more physical team. They're the tougher team, the more gritty team. On a short turnaround, they're the more physical team. I like them to cover that spread comfortably.
Yeah, I agree with that Ravens pick.
I like that pick. I hate Thursday Night Football, but I love that pick, especially because of how banged up the Bengals are at wide receiver and how great Baltimore secondary has been this year.
Yeah.
Like Joe Burrow is going to struggle in that game. I really think because he's just not going to have anybody open. And if they can't throw the ball, they don't really have enough elsewhere, I think, to keep up with a team like Baltimore.
This is a must-win for the Bengals.
Yeah,
I don't think they're gonna.
They could be 5-6, which is crazy.
If they lose this one, they're in like a you must win out to make the playoffs almost.
Especially with how insane the AFC is.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know if 10 wins makes you a lock to make the playoffs this year.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they lose this tomorrow night, it's do or die.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can go 10-7 and hope, but you're playing the lottery at that point. If you want to control your own fate. You got to win 11 games
Yeah.
in the AFC.
Yeah,
Maybe
'cause
in the NFC they could have done it, but
Yeah.
the
Well, the
AFC.
NFC's. I don't get the NFC.
yeah, the Niners are back, baby. All it matters.
I mean, honestly, like right now, who's the second best quarterback in the NFC?
Brock Purdy,
It's
baby.
Dak, and then who?
Yeah.
Well, or who's third
I'm
after
just
Dak?
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Hurts, Dak,
Jared Goff.
probably Jared Goff.
Yeah, Jared Goff.
I'm really trying to think right now.
And would Jared Goff be top 5 in the AFC?
I don't think
Uh,
he would. 'Cause I don't think
Okay,
he's top
who-
10.
I don't know if he's top 10. Yeah.
Jameis Winston just entered the chat.
Hey, do not sleep on Baker Mayfield.
Yikes.
You had me believe it at the beginning of the year. They didn't look too bad at the beginning of the year, JT.
Hey,
What's happening?
After like 3
Coaching.
weeks, I thought you were a prophet.
I did too.
you
They're
know what it is?
0-9
Todd
and
Bowles
8.
is a coward.
Or 8
Yeah.
and 9. They're winning 8 or 9 games.
Well, Baker Mayfield,
Which
though, he's
might-
playing really well. He's only got like 14 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, something like that.
That I can't believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, first year play
They-
caller, the McVay system. Yeah, it's the same system they were on in Seattle with Shane Waldron.
Yeah.
You know, it saved Geno Smith's career, it's saving Baker Mayfield's career. If Todd Bowles would just play a little bit of press man coverage, you know, not give up 1,000,000 passing yards a game, playing conservative zone coverage,
Yeah.
this team would be
I would-
dangerous.
I was reading a thing. Apparently, like the days of like aggressive defense are dead. It was like a Sharp Analytics article. And that's like why we're getting so much boring, low-scoring football now because defenses have adjusted to just sitting back and playing all these shells and just waiting for offenses to make a mistake rather than trying to stop them.
Yeah.
And
And it
it
sucks.
doesn't work. Not for the Bucks. The Bucks suck at zone coverage. They are a press man team. They have press man corners. They
Yeah.
have aggressive blitzers. Todd Bowles, you're a coward. Get it together.
Oh, I 100% agree. It's working for the Raiders right now, but I hate watching it.
Oh yeah.
It's working, but I
It's
hate
fr-
it. I hate it so
Yeah.
much.
I actually think zone does a lot of good for a team that's lacking a little bit in terms of talent.
Yeah.
Because it
Well, it's not
protects the
even
players.
Zone, like it's even when teams are playing man now, they're playing so much off coverage.
Watch if you ever watch another Raiders game for any of you this year, just watch Marcus Peters and where he lines up. I took a picture on my phone of the TV last week. It was like a 3rd and 8 or something. He was like 15 yards off.
Every
man
play,
coverage.
like at most, he is never less than 5 yards. He is never less than 5 yards off the ball,
That's crazy.
off the line of scrimmage when he plays.
I'm sure
In
we'll
man.
I'm sure we'll be forced to watch the Raiders in prime time again one last
Oh,
time
yeah.
this year.
They got at least a Thursday night game still.
Yeah.
How are the Raiders 5-5 and legitimately in the hunt record wise?
They have the same amount of wins as the Bills and the Bengals, which is
and they've already fired their coach.
Well, I mean, Josh McDaniels has been horrible. And also, like,
Yeah.
they now have a quarterback in place that is actually throwing the ball down the field, so Josh Jacobs is allowed
Yeah.
to run. And they're also letting Josh Jacobs have input in the run game again, which he never did under McDaniels, apparently.
There's a real chance the Raiders are a wild card team this time
Yeah.
next week.
But probably not. They're going to go 9.
probably not.
They're gonna go
Wait,
9.
they got the Dolphins. I think it's Dolphins,
Yeah.
Chiefs, and Vikings
Ouch.
for the next
Oh.
3. So
Yeah.
they
I'll talk more about that.
very
Dolphins
realistically they
game.
could be 5 and
little
8 in 3 weeks. So I don't want to get too
Yeah.
excited yet.
Honestly, even winning 5 games for them is impressive.
Yeah.
I just need 7. I had Raiders over
Same.
6.5 wins this
I-
year. I just need 7 wins.
yeah.
All right.
2
I'm
more.
not gonna
2
say
more
anything.
wins.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. Who's up on picking? Is it
I
Dalton?
think it's,
I don't even know.
Oh, is it me?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I'm done.
I've been ranting about all kinds of other shit. All right. So for my lock this week, well, both my games, I got some greasy picks for you. Giants at Commanders. I'm taking the Giants plus 9.5 at minus 108. This isn't going to be a good game. You shouldn't watch this game. But it's a divisional game. They're always like the NFC East is just a bloodbath every year. It'll be a tight game. While the Giants have not looked great, I think they can keep it within single digits against a Commanders team that, is better than we expected, sure. But again, those expectations weren't that high. This is still not a very good team. This is still, at best, a fringe wild card team. At best, this is the 7 seed in the NFC when it's all said and done. So I don't think they should be a double-digit favorite against anybody, especially not a division rival. And then for my underdog pick this week, I'm taking the Jets money line at the Bills at plus 240. We just saw the Jets last week really look shaky against the Raiders. But, they're playing an inspired Raiders team. And also, the Jets still looked good offensively and defensively. I mean, the defense kept the Raiders in check. And offensively, they moved the ball well. They just couldn't stop making these fatal mistakes every drive. It can't happen every week. And they're playing a Bills team that's also making a lot of mistakes. And again, it's a divisional game. I think making any team a plus 240 underdog in an NFL divisional game, unless it's like literally the best team in the division against the absolute worst, which this is not the case. I think otherwise it should be a lot closer. And also, I feel like the odds are this long because everyone assumes that because the Jets did pull out that week 1 win against the Bills, that they're going to drop this one because that's usually the nature of divisional games. But I mean, I think the Bills gave that one away. If anything, I think this would be the game the Jets would win. And I like them to pull this one out, especially at plus 240.
Yeah, the Bills are falling apart in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen's going to have a long game this week.
I was thinking about this more today. I don't know if Josh Allen is in Buffalo 3 years from now.
I don't.
If he keeps playing like this, no. I don't think
Not even like that. I just feel like it's just gonna. I just think because I don't even know if it's just him. I just think they're going to reach an impasse too. Because like, one, if they don't think they can win with him in 10 years from now, in 2 years their window is gonna be shut. So I could see them moving on from him.
I think their window's shut already, in my opinion. I think that, I don't think, like you said, I don't think Allen's going to be there in a few years. I don't think Diggs will be there in a few years. Like, it's almost rebuild time for them. Get the new stadium.
I don't want to be there now.
Like, I don't know. That's just my crazy theory.
Yeah. I think it'll be a little longer than that. I think they'll hold on, but I think we'll see how this year finishes out. But yeah, I could see next year or the year after it becoming an untenable situation. Especially like I don't know how close he is to it. I think 2 years from now he'll be getting into another contract negotiation. That could be when it falls apart.
Yeah.
Well, and I heard that the Bills fired both their offensive and defensive coordinator in the last calendar year. I mean, head coach is not far behind at that point if the wheels fall off this year.
Was it Leslie Frazier?
I think it was,
their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and then they just fired what's his face? The guy who replaced Stable.
Ken Dorsey.
Dorsey, that's it.
Dorsey,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. All right. So me and Casey will be going to battle this week because my lock is the Browns -1 at minus
All right.
110 odds. I was going to take this at -4 when Deshaun Watson was playing. He's no longer playing. I don't think not having Deshaun Watson is that much of a detriment to the Browns. And at -1, they can do the same thing they did last week where they're losing with like 5 seconds left. This game is going to be very close. It's going to be very ugly. The Steelers have only won once in their last 5 trips to Cleveland. And even with Deshaun Watson, when these two teams played earlier in the season, Watson had a horrible, maybe horrible is a little harsh, but he did not play a very good game at all. And they still almost came out of that with a win. So I'm pretty confident their defense will limit the Steelers. Most defenses probably can limit the Steelers, but I'm pretty confident in the Browns covering here. And then for my underdog, I've got the Raiders at plus 12.5 against the Dolphins. And this one could come back to bite me because the Raiders in early window on Sunday are typically not good. But I think they can lose by 12 points or less in this game. I'm pretty confident in that. Their defense, I don't think they're going to shut down the Dolphins at all. I don't think they're going to win this game. But their defense, I do think is good enough to keep the Dolphins from scoring like an absurd amount of points. As Dalton was talking about earlier, having a quarterback for the Raiders, they can throw the ball deep, has really, really opened up the offense. I think they score enough points to keep this somewhat close. They could still lose by 2 possessions and still cover. So I feel pretty confident in that. If they lose by 10, we're still covering. And I think that's probably how the game's going to go. So
here's my fear. I think the Dolphins are way, way better than the Raiders, and I think they're going to destroy them. But how am I going to bet against the only one of us who's over 500 in any category? Like, Jake's NFL bets have been the only thing that have been winning.
That's all of my power from college that I had in the beginning of the year is just completely transferred over. Like, I can only do one thing.
Well, we are all scraping for 500, and you have the flexibility and the cushion to bet Raiders anything. So enjoy that freedom.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about like the Raiders are a team where if you watch them enough, as far as the results, they do get kind of predictable because like you just get very used to the vibe. That is the nice thing. So I trust Jake here with this pick. I could see the Raiders just finding a way to keep it close enough to give the fan base hope for another week. Like they'll play Miami close, and they'll get everyone hyped up for this Kansas City game the following week, and then Patrick Mahomes will drop 40 on him.
Yeah.
They could get 40 dropped on them this week because every time they play, I swear every Raiders game where they play on the East Coast, they get blown out every single time. So it could happen, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just the vibe I have. I was trying to, before this episode, think of how I was going to convince you guys that betting the Raiders against the Dolphins would be a good idea. And I couldn't think of too much. It's just, I just have an urge to do this.
You just point down to the record and say, scoreboard.
Yeah.
Me smart, me dumb.
Yeah, I guess I'll follow it. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, they did win on the East Coast a couple weeks ago against the Giants, right?
No, that was at home.
Oh, were both those games?
I think, yeah, they played both New York teams. I think the only East Coast game has been the Bills, which they lost like 48-10 or something, or 38-10. Yeah.
But Steelers money line all day, dude.
Yeah.
Screw the Browns. And they're what'd you get them at -1?
-1, yeah.
I think they're it's minus, or the line's 1.5 now.
Yeah.
So
you know what's fun about that game?
Nothing.
I was gonna say defense maybe.
I think
Yeah.
we all feel like the Browns are the better team, but the Steelers are never the better team, and they always win. Like they've been
Yeah.
outgained in every game this year, and they just somehow
They
keep
dude,
winning.
they just turn it on in the fourth quarter. I don't get it. Their team just like
Yeah,
they like wait for the opposing team to self implode.
they're
Like
just
they
yeah.
capitalize on it.
We're
I
going to
don't
come to the end
understand
of the
them.
year, and they're going to have like 11, 12 wins. They're going to be like, how did that happen? That team sucks.
I can see it.
I don't know.
They're this year's Vikings.
Tomlin just knows what he's doing.
I don't get that. I don't. I
What the
don't get me
Vikings?
started on the
Dude,
fact that
Josh
Vikings won
Dobbs,
5 in a
dude,
row.
MVP.
The
Josh
Vikings
Dobbs
over the
effect.
last 2 years might be the most confusing team, at least to me, because I
Yeah.
thought they were dead in the water this year,
It's just like cement
and they
that
yeah.
Kirk's not going to be there next year. That they're having the success without him.
Right?
Yeah.
They've only gotten better without Kirk and Justin Jefferson. Like, let's not
Yeah.
forget that
Yeah,
this is all without
Yeah,
Justin
they're
Jefferson.
like, maybe we can get a couple first rounders for Jefferson. Or, well, one. I don't know if you get a couple, but I don't know.
I feel like you
Jefferson
could.
Game.
I know. I don't
I think
know.
I
That's
think a GM out there will give you 2 firsts for Jefferson.
yeah.
How much did the
Oh.
Dolphins give up for Hill? I think it was
I
at least
think it
one
was like
first and
a
multiple.
first and a bunch of like day 2 picks.
Yeah, you could definitely get similar package, if not
Yeah,
more,
I
'cause
agree. I mean, that was
Yeah.
what the
Jefferson's
Raiders gave up for
younger.
Adams. They gave up a first and a second for Adams.
Yeah.
And that was with, I think Adams already like was saying he wanted to leave. So I
yeah,
think
that was Adams.
so they
pretty
even
much refusing
had
to-
some leverage in that.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah. Gotcha.
And the Raiders were the one team he wanted to go to. That was his number one choice.
Sure, he second thinking that one.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into the anytime touchdown score, and then after we do that, I do have a prop for tomorrow night that I think is pretty good. But we'll do the anytime touchdown score. I'll start with mine. I'm going with Christian McCaffrey. Unfortunately, he's stuck with the tie of the record of 16 games in a row of scoring a touchdown. I don't know if you guys saw that game last week, but they put him in the last offensive drive after they already put in all the second guys in. So it was kind of like a manhood test for the Jaguars. Are like, you either let him score or you give it your best to not let him score. And they stopped McCaffrey. I thought it was going to be an easy, like he's just going to get in. But unfortunately, he lost the record. He's going to start it up again this week. He'll get in the end zone. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get in the end zone twice. But I got CMC this week.
All right. I am turning my attention after my big contribution to last week's parlay hit. I am going to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Calvin Ridley. And mostly because Calvin Ridley's really good and their opponent, the Tennessee Titans, are really bad. So I think Jacksonville's just going to throw it all over the field on them. Calvin Ridley, get in the end zone.
Yeah, they need a bounce back after last week.
They do.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence needs a bounce back. He hasn't had as good a year as I would have hoped.
No, they've been disappointing in general. Like they should be running away with that division, and
Yeah.
Houston's coming, which
Yeah.
didn't expect. I still don't think Houston's as good as the record shows, but it's still I'm surprised at how
Yeah.
close that division is. All right, so for my touchdown parlay pick, JT kind of touched on the Raiders-Dolphins game. I'm picking Raheem Mostert to score, even if I think like the Raiders could keep that game close. They're not stopping Raheem Mostert. The Raiders have been gashed in the run game all year. They have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. And Raheem Mostert's been playing phenomenal this year. I expect him to run roughshod over the Raiders. And yeah, I think getting in at least once should be no problem for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he scored it at least twice.
I like that one. All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Mark Andrews. So we'll have a little Thursday night excitement. Hopefully, the parlay isn't dead before Sunday. But I got some stats here to back this up. Okay, so the Bengals have given up a 79.7% reception rate to opposing tight ends. And when Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews are both on the field in a goal-to-go situation, he's thrown the ball to Andrews 50% of the time. So Andrews, I think, as we've seen over the years, is clearly someone that Lamar trusts when he gets down to the goal line in the red zone. The Bengals have looked suspect the last few weeks, and they give up a lot of passes to tight ends this year. So I think it's a good combination there. So I'm not sure what the odds are on that, but
I'll get the odds posted on Twitter. Hopefully they'll all be on there before the game tomorrow, since we'll have Mark Andrews on the parlay. So I'll try my best to get that in before it goes. But yeah, so we have Christian McCaffrey, Raheem Mostert, Mark Andrews, and Calvin Ridley for this week. Let's build off the momentum. We did three. It was 3 legs last week, so hopefully we can get this 4 leg to hit this week. We'll have even better odds, I would assume, since we're adding an extra person. But before we do end the show, I know tomorrow night's probably going to be one of our better Monday, Thursday night matchups that we've had this year so far. And I wanted to give out a prop that I'm going to be hitting pretty hard. And there's a guy for the Bengals that's over the past 5 weeks. He's only played in 4 games, but he's been there for about 5 weeks now. Tanner Hudson, over 22.5 yards, receiving yards this week. With their receiving core being banged up, and then, 2 weeks ago, in the Sunday night game against the Bills, they started to utilize their tight ends more. This Tanner Hudson guy's been getting open and getting wide open in space. It seems like Burrow's trusting him. And over his past 5 games, he's had a 33-yarder, a 45-yard, 18-yard, and 30-yard reception game. So, I mean, he's getting the rock and he's getting some yards. So 22.5, I think he's going to blow past that this week or tomorrow night. So yeah, Tanner Hudson over 22.5 receiving yards is my prop of the night for tomorrow. I don't know if you guys have anything for tomorrow. I know we had a few picks for the game, but if you guys had anything else or any other sports you're betting on?
Actually, can I give a rare hockey parlay?
Go ahead. Let me write this down.
We have an international game coming up here these next couple of days. Red Wings are playing the Ottawa Senators in Sweden. And anyone who follows the Red Wings knows that Detroit has a direct pipeline to Sweden. A lot of their top prospects all come from Sweden. So I'm going Red Wings plus 1.5 goals. I'm going Lucas Raymond, anytime goal scorer, Swedish kid coming home. And I'm going Alex DeBrincat, anytime goal scorer. He's one of the best goal scorers in the NHL. That is plus 1,000. So a $1 bet gets you $10 back. I'm going Detroit, and they're home away from home.
All right, so you mind repeating? You got the Red Wings plus 1.5.
Lucas Raymond, anytime goal scorer. And
Okay.
Alex DeBrincat, anytime goal scorer. Plus 1,000.
All right, I will be following that. Dalton, Jake, you guys got any props for the rest of the week, or you go with your picks?
I've been
So,
cold. I've just been putting random parlays in. So, yeah.
Sounds
so I've been looking at so tomorrow Euro 2024 kicks off with group play, and I've been looking at some of those group futures. One that's sticking out to me is Serbia at plus 450 to win Group G. Right now, the favorite to win that group is Hungary. So, I mean, that's a wide open group. Love the value on Serbia. Another one that I really like, Group D. I know Croatia has fallen off in recent years from where they were for that World Cup run, but I still like Croatia at plus 800 to win Group D. I mean, right now Turkey's the favorite at minus 750 to win Group D, and I don't think Croatia is that far off from Turkey right now. So those are a couple that I'm looking at.
All right. Cool.
For those of you interested in betting soccer.
Yeah, so that was a little bit new flavor here for the show. We got some hockey and some soccer in there.
Hungary is minus 700.
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
That's
way.
That's
why I love the value on Serbia.
That doesn't make any sense in my head.
I couldn't name a Hungarian player right now.
Wow.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and end the show for this week. It's our first 1 hour plus episode. It's crazy. We appreciate everyone watching. Slowly, we've been noticing like more and more views, more and more interaction. So we appreciate that as we continue to try to grow this thing and keep going. Hopefully, you're following us on our touchdown parlay this week, and we have a little bit the same, well, not a little bit better, but the same luck we did last week. Like I said, I'll tweet that out probably before the game starts tomorrow. That way we have all the odds in there. And keep tweeting at us. Let us know if you like our picks, what you like for that week. Let us know. We appreciate you watching. Share it for anyone. Let them know. And we appreciate it. And good luck to you this weekend on your bets.